thing that I really want to talk about is kind of, and it's something I'm quite interested in as well, is how does, the cancer treatments and, the chemo and all those things, how do you feel that impacts your performance as a sportsman?
Well, I think what happened was when I had the actual initial treatment, that probably affected me the most. But again, like anything in life, it's how you manage to manage it, because the bottom line is I was very weak when I had that. And then now, if I have a cancer treatment, it doesn't even worry me because I normally fast before it, doesn't worry me. The steroids make you like bloated, but I find that the best method is to just keep training and be normal and get back to normality as fast as possible. I think it's funny, I don't know whether it's my age or whether the cancer affects me, but I am a little bit slower. And then sometimes I have days where I'm going as fast as I was before. So the only thing that I found that the cancer, some of the treatment does, it does lower your immunity down. So like I never normally get colds and coughs, which I've had, so I've been on antibiotics. So it doesn't really affect me. I mean, it doesn't, if I haven't got a cold or anything, I have my chemo and then I go out for a 20-kilometer paddle, no problem. And I really enjoy it, and I think that's important to do, is to get it out of your system as fast as, it's in your system to help you, and then get out of the system as soon as possible.
And then, I mean, we've also kind of, with the traveling and everything, do you feel that also kind of inhibits a little bit?
Yeah, traveling is an interesting thing, Lots of people say, oh no, you're traveling so much. But what I've done is made traveling part of the adventure, part of the experience, and made it something that I look forward to. Yeah. So that is the difference. You see, some people look at traveling and say, oh gee, you've got to do this, I'm going to fly to there and there. And and I use Emirates a lot of the time, Emirates Airlines, so they treat me like so well. And in fact, I always joke, my wife says, oh no, you mean we've only got 1 hour at the airport? No, we want 3 hours because we're going to enjoy the beautiful champagne and the good food and things like that. So if you can just change traveling, that was a bond, becomes something that you look forward to, suddenly you're like, oh, I can't wait to go and travel again. And that's the attitude that I have had for a long time. Made traveling something that I look forward to and I enjoy, as opposed to making it like a bond and, oh, aren't you tired? Doesn't affect me one bit, because I've got that attitude to say, I'm enjoying this and I'll enjoy my wine and all the good food.
So what's your preferred lounge?
The best lounges, and I say I've been to lots. Singapore is fantastic, Hong Kong, all over the world. But the best lounge is the first class lounge in Emirates, where you can actually sit down and they give you a free massage as part of the deal. They give you a la carte, so you sit down, you have a New York steak or a crayfish or anything, and it is top of the pops. You have a shower, they give you a free massage, as I said. And that's like that's why Claire gets upset when you're there for 3 hours. She wants to spend 4 or 5 hours, and the women get free hairdos. So it's fantastic. So you got to change. And again, as long as you're in the lounge, if you have a 3 or 4 or 5 hour layover, it's no big deal. So that's why I'm change your traveling to become a bond, to become something of an adventure where you really enjoy it and enjoy the time that you have with your wife or your mates in the lounges.
So it's actually funny because there's a joke going around online about airport dads, and I realize I'm very much an airport dad, where I'm very anxious when it comes to traveling. So I have to have all my documents in order. I have to be there, at least 3 hours before my flight. So how would you describe?
Yeah, so I'm one of those people that my briefcase or my backpack, my Thule backpack, it's always got all the documents. So I never have to worry. When I've finished using it, they go back into my Thule backpack, and that's it. I don't have to worry. But funny enough, just this trip coming back to here, to South Africa, I was so lucky. My daughter left early. So Claire and I went to the airport, Porto Airport early. And when we get there, my wife says, you won't believe it, I forgot my passport. So she was very lucky that my brother had my car and he just got the passport, no issue. But you see, I take out all the hassle. So Claire normally just follows me wherever a lounge, and you can go, the airports are huge around the world. She just follows me, and I'm just got like a sixth sense which gate I'm going to. and it becomes, I'm not one bit stressed before, and I don't care if even I get there 15 minutes before. I know where to go, how, all the shortcuts, what to do, because I've been doing it for such a long time. And you've got to take the stress out of traveling, and it's absolutely no stress, because I know I just take my bag and off I go to the airport, and it's got everything there. I don't have to worry about anything.
You mentioned you're going to Australia next. What are the rest of your plans for the remainder of 2022?
Well, I've got to go back now for chemo, and then and I'll train as hard as I can for the race called the Shawn Partners Financial Services Western Australia Race Week, which is a whole lot of races, and one of the races being the Doctor, which I've won 3 times in a row. So I'll do that, and then I'll do some motivational talks in Australia, and that's in Perth, and then I'll fly to Sydney, and then I hope to do a few talks around Brisbane and Adelaide and Melbourne, sort of spreading my knowledge and spreading my sort of motivation for people. At the end of the year, you want to have something that just gives you a boost. So boost over Christmas and a boost for January. So I'll be back in South Africa sort of mid-December, and that's when the wind blows and the Millers runs, and I'll be doing that, and again teaching people in South Africa, teaching people in Australia, and then again my January or end of December is when I sort of plan the whole year to see what I'm going to do for that year, plan it out, write it down, what my goals for that year, and hopefully I might stay in South Africa till April if I can get my chemo done in South Africa. So I'm working on that. So it's going to be a fun time to see if I can sort that out.
Oscar, you say you don't think you're famous, but I was speaking to my one friend in Durban recently, and I think I just mentioned your name because I was probably like editing some of your stuff, and then he was like, "Yeah, I know Oscar," and I was like, "What? How?" He's like my age, you know what I mean? And it's like, then he was like, "Yeah, I know. Everyone knows Oscar in Durban. He's a big thing in Durban." So do you feel like you're famous in South Africa, or?
It's an interesting question, because I mean I know a lot of famous people. I mean I know more famous people that are more famous. I mean like Unati has got 1 million followers. I've only got like getting to 20,000, and Somisi's got 6 million followers, and then John Engelbrecht. I know all the famous people, and all the famous people look up to me, and I do get a lot of respect, but I don't think I'm that famous. And the only way I've sort of become famous or made myself famous is sort of being associated with these good people that are really famous. And I think that's what happens. And again, like anything in life, you have to work at it all the time. You have to be posting, you have to be doing this, because if you don't do that, you just become a nobody, you know. So I definitely work at it. I mean, I don't think I'm famous, but some people, some places, I'm very shocked, you know, so it happens that some people know me, so that's good.
You often get people coming up to ask for photos, and
funny enough, it's getting more and more. I think maybe it's because of social media. I don't actually know the reason why it suddenly get more and more that people are saying, oh, like in fact, yesterday after the Cape Town Marathon, I was sitting in a coffee shop, and the lady came and says, I know you. I said, oh, okay, pleased to meet you. And I want my daughter to meet you, and introduced me to her. Obviously from Durban. So in Durban I was fairly famous because I was in the front page of the newspapers quite often in Durban, because I was winning a lot of things over a long time. So I think that's what happens. My father was winning when I was 5 years old, and the family is still winning, and we're 60 years old, you know. So maybe that's what happens, is that over time, over longevity, people get to know you, this name, and a lot of people know this name.
back in the day, looking at some of your photos, you had quite the physique. Did you? I know you say you hardly ever like were in the gym lifting weights, but to get a body like that, there's no way you would lift weights. So
So I never actually lift a single weight in my life. I mean, the people used to get so mad. I never did nothing. I mean, basically, I only started lifting weights in 1992 when I was training for the Olympics. Before then, I did nothing. And you can see that, and you look at surfers, and you look at a lot of natural sportsmen, they just get this physique by just doing natural things, you know. And again, you don't have to do gym and all those things. I mean, like now, as soon as I get over this cold and this flu now, I will just start doing cold water swims and push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, and you can get a body. You don't need to do anything. And surfers get that sort of body as well. If you just surf all the time, which I did, and train all the time, you just get that body. And swimming all the time, it just happens. So a natural body is the best body. I mean, I'm not a big proponent of weight, although I've just started CrossFit, and that definitely helps a bit. But now I've been doing cold water swimming and just doing free weight exercise in between my cold water swimming, which is helping me a lot, I think. So you don't need to do weights.
You miss your six-pack?
Yeah, no, I'll get it. I get my six. But the funny thing is, people always just joke when I was racing, and I always used to race overweight because I just enjoyed life too much. And they always say, no, Oscar's very clever. He's got a six-pack under that little keg, you know. I've always had the six-pack under, so that's why I used to win races even when I was overweight, because actually I was training hard, but I couldn't keep up with the amount of food and drinking I was doing. So that's why I still was very fit, but it didn't show in the six-pack. And now I get that easily. I mean, I just fast, and it takes me 2 or 3 weeks, and I get my six-pack back fast, you know, because of fasting.
Did you party a lot back in the day?
No, I still do. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's funny enough, when I was very young, I never drank till I was 25, so nothing. So, and then my wife always jokes that now I'm catching up, you know. So, and I'm always partying, I'm always having fun, and that's the thing about life. If you have fun in life, you'll do it for much longer. So my way to keep my weight in balance and keep my fitness in balance is to train. So that's why I love training, and then I love eating and drinking and having fun with friends. I don't do it on my own, you know. I don't sit there and drink a whole lot of wine on my own at home. No, I wouldn't do that. I'll only drink and have fun with friends.
Okay. Speaking about Claire, I'd love to know how you guys met.
Yeah, Claire, I mean, she's got a different story. I mean, you know, women always got a different story. She said she met me at after a water polo function. Her sister Tessa introduced me, but I was competing for Natal or South Africa in a life-saving event, and we went to a pajama party, and she was at the pajama party. That's how I started. And I'll never forget the year. It was 1983, and I'd just come back from the World Bodyboarding or Boogie Board Championships, and she didn't even know what surf ski was. She didn't know what anything. She didn't know who I was, and I think that was the big attraction. She loved me for what I was, and I never knew who she was, and that's how it all started at the pajama party, and then from there it carried on going, a couple of lunches here and there, and she never believed that she'd be driving for me, because, as you know, in downwind you need a driver, and she's been driving now for 40 years.
Did you make the first move?
I don't know, how do you say? I mean, I didn't make any move. I just took her number, and I said, I first gave her, she said that I gave her a card. She said, I'm a lady, I don't take cards, you phone me. And I made the first move and found her, and that's, yeah, so I can be blamed for that.